Students, and there was one student that I'll never forget this, and I've told people this many times, even after the interview process was over. We were talking, and I asked him, he asked me some things, what I would do with students, and I asked him, what's the single thing you could tell me you've learned as a student at Washington College? And his answer almost knocked me over. He said, I learned the concept of moral courage. I mean, if you think about that for a minute, an 18, 19-year-old young person says, what I learned at Washington College was moral courage. So I remember thinking to myself, if I get this job offer, I'm coming. And I will tell you, I've been president for like 12 days, but I've been here for about a month and a half. And the learnings that I have about doing this job effectively is everything in a university college is about co-governance. And I kind of knew that from my time at the Commission on Higher Education, that you must involve the constituents in most every decision, and that requires the ability to convince people. The process of decision making is very different than in the corporate world. Having said that, here's my major learning, is that whether you're at the DuPont Company, the military, Washington College, is all inhabited by the same breed of mammal, human beings. And human beings behave in the same ways in the organizations they're in. They're impacted by the culture. The culture, I want to drive the value proposition. Our strategic centers here are phenomenal. The Waterfront is phenomenal. The Rosie O'Neill Center is phenomenal. I just had a meeting this morning with the Caterers Society, which is, honestly, it just blew my mind. I just couldn't believe it that we don't do a better job here talking to people about these miraculous and unbelievable educational opportunities that we offer people who come here. And so I have to tell you that I believe the Waterfront is a huge opportunity for the college and for the community. And right now the situation, I think, is just sad. There's all that land down there on that beautiful river that needs to be developed. And I think working with the mayor and working with the city council and the Board of Visitors and Governors here, we can step forward. The relationship between Washington College and this community is what you say in your editorials. We have been intertwined for hundreds of years, and we can all benefit if we learn to work together for the betterment of the community and the college. And I met with the mayor, and I think he thinks the same thing. It's like all things, it has to be a partnership. We have to, we can make this a win-win, and the way to do that is for us to show what we can offer to the community and see what they need back from us. And I don't know how it's been in the past, and quite frankly, almost don't care. What I care about is going forward. So if I get involved in United Way, I get involved with the hospital, we get our kids more involved with the Main Street Association. We look at what's going on. We have a good working relationship with the city council, and our kids need this town and needs the services, need the city. I mean, Chestertown provides services that this school needs, and so we've got to be more cooperative, is how I would describe it. I'm not opposed, in fact, maybe even a little in favor of thinking about ways that we can engage with the community and understand that if we can provide some support to the community, that we should consider doing that. We use a lot of community services, and incidentally, the argument is that this college provides tremendous economic value to this community. I get all of that, but this is another one of those things where maybe we can have a better meeting of the minds. I believe that there are three pillars to American society: capitalism, right, the rule of law, and democracy. So let's take capitalism. Capitalism is real simple. I'm a trained economist. I can tell you, capitalism is about returning to those with capital a return on their investment. But what we found in this country is that if we didn't have a population that had a moral compass, so remember I told you about the kid who told me about the moral courage? We need to have people who are educated, and that's why I love liberal arts schools, because they provide that moral compass. So democracy, and of course, it's not a real democracy, it's a representative democracy. If you don't have an educated population, democracy can go very far afield and do some really, really untoward things. And then, of course, the rule of law, that's all about having people who have a moral compass and understand the U.S. Constitution and what's right from wrong. So this whole thing about a college education, and they're even more severe about liberal arts schools. They not worth anything. You should be educating kids in the sciences, and that's what matters because that's the return on investment. I think that's complete nonsense. The best education you can get to serve our society is a liberal arts education the way we do it. We do it in a cross-disciplinary way. So you get a liberal arts background along with some training in fields that like business and things that you can go out into the job market with. And we have, as you know, very high percentages of our kids who either go to graduate school or work. So I guess what I would tell you, I find that 60% figure to be scary, because if that's actually what people think, I actually would tell you I think the country is headed for some serious problems. We have a public education system in the K through 12 area that leaves a great deal to be desired, and it just nationally leaves a great deal to be desired. But you're leaving large groups of people in a position where they're disadvantaged educationally, where they're disadvantaged economically. Is that any society that continues to have this inequality always ends up in a very bad place. We could go back in history and see all the examples of the revolutions that occurred, and we in America always think that could never happen here. It can happen here. We have a divided society that can't continue to exist in the way it does now. So.